Welcome back, world, to the Verbal Intercourse Podcast. Got your host, Nick Walker, back in the building with you today. Shout out to everybody that supported the podcast, listened to the podcast, shared the podcast. Really appreciative over here at Verbal Intercourse. Today, got a very special guest in the building. Jackson's hottest rapper. Um, one I label him as kind of like a ferocious talent, like how he spit. I just the adjective I can only describe is just ferocious. He has an amazing talent. Akeem Ali, special talent, straight out of Jackson, Mississippi, homegrown, and it's a blessing to have him on our platform today. So yeah, man, how you feeling?
Feeling all right, man. Groovy, to say the least.
Yeah. How's your day been going, man? How's your year been going so far as creation and mental space? How's that been going?
I was telling myself the other day, I'm in the best mental space that I've been in, probably in my life. So
Really?
yeah, I'm good, happy, doing what I love to do, man. Working every day, writing, recording, thriving and surviving. So
That's dope, man. That's amazing, bro. That's some big words to say. You in the best mental space you ever been in your life. Talk to me a little bit about how you got there and any like mental tools or mental health tools that you use on a daily basis to kind of help you stay in that good space.
um, reading
Yeah.
helped me tremendously. And I never used to read. It's crazy. As much as I write songs, as much as I'm writing things for people to kind of like listen to and take in, I never did that myself. So yeah, reading and studying, man. Keeping the right people around me, figuring myself out, learning me more and more every day, who I am, what I am, and what setting and wherever I'm at. And I always just kind of like staying attached to the most inner part of myself and just not giving it up for nobody.
That's real, dog. Yeah, I think that just comes with I think that's just a never everyday struggle of trying to just stay in that good space and try to
Right.
keep the right people around you, good vibes, positive energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I feel like, I'm turning 35 this year, and I'm, still navigating that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Everyday. It's a everyday struggle, and I don't say it's always an uphill battle, but it's literally something new to learn every day. If it's about yourself and about the world around you and how you need to cope with it, react to it, how you let it affect you, it's always something new you learn. Even if it's a new lesson, it's taught in a different way. So,
that's
well,
dope, bro.
say an old lesson is taught in a different way.
Yeah, that's facts though. And especially like it's interesting that you said reading, because I feel like lately, like this year, currently I've been reading the most I have in a very long time as well. And I've kind of decreased my phone screen time. So I hadn't been on social media as much. I've been reading books specifically by Black authors. So yeah, I think definitely, that's definitely helped out with my mental space, and I'm very appreciative and very good, and I'm very happy that I've picked back, up the books and
Mm-hmm.
start
Yeah,
educating myself again.
yeah.
So, you know, let's segue into some questions specifically about you and your love for music. When did you first fall in love with hip hop, and who are your musical influences?
Um, I guess I could say I fell in love just kind of like to no fault of my own. I fell in love with music. I'm not going to say hip hop. It was
Hmm.
just music around the age of 8 or 9 years old. And at that time, I was sitting in front of the radio listening to what Usher, John Legend, some Twister, or like Boosie was out then. It grew into like listening to Wayne and sure, who else? It was a bunch of people. It was mostly Wayne once I had got on Wayne, like Wayne and Boosie. But yeah, just listening to that stuff, and that's kind of how it started. And I wrote my first rap when I was like fifth grade. Uh, and after that, man, I wrote a few more little raps and stuff, but I never did take rap seriously. And I picked up a pen in ninth grade after listening to Eminem's Zelda freestyle. I remember hearing it, and it literally
Which freestyle, bro?
Zelda freestyle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you never heard it before.
I hadn't heard that one, and I'm a big. Well, I used to be a really big Eminem fan. So,
Mhm.
but you know, of course, I always feel like he top 5 ever for me.
Yeah, for me too. Yeah. But I listened to that one day in the ninth grade, man, and picked up a pen. I guess I was more so trying to like rap and make it sound like he had whatever he pushed through them headphones that day. I was trying to make whatever I was writing sound like that. So, and I wrote the best I could to kind of match that, but it wasn't what that was. But man, I literally never stopped writing since then. That was back in 2009.
That's dope, bro. And '09 was like a big year. You mentioned Wayne. '09 was I was in college in '09, and Wayne, Drake was just getting started good. I think T.I. was fresh out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gucci was on the run, fresh out of jail. Jeezy, recession was going
It was
crazy.
a lot going on, man. Like
Yeah.
2009, 2008. From like '07 to
Mm-hmm.
2010, probably.
12. I
That's
say 12.
12. Okay, yeah. No, well, you're absolutely right. 12, and like the last really, really good year, in my opinion, is gonna be 13, maybe 14.
Mm-hmm.
Last really, really good year that
Mm-hmm.
we had, that hip hop was just kind of like going crazy. So I could say like, yeah, like 14. But yeah, it was, man, what a time.
Mm-hmm. If
Yeah.
you could name any album that inspired you during that era, inspired you musically, or it just gave you that feeling, which album would you pick?
That era, oh, from '09 to 2000, it's too many to say, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't give you, oh, yeah, nah, it's too many to say. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
But
it's a lot.
I can name some that really helped and influenced me as an artist,
Go ahead.
and really, really helped my thinking when I was writing or when I was trying to like accomplish something in my music. So, starting from the beginning of it, No Ceilings,
Yeah,
definitely. Not even an album, but one of my top albums of all time.
no doubt.
Drake, his first album, Cole's first album, and both of their second albums, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a
Mm-hmm.
Butterfly, um, The Recession by Jeezy. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when did Paper Trails? And I want to say it
Paper
came out
Trail was about
oh
'09.
'08 maybe, but
Yeah, about '08, '09. Would you say My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
get into it. Definitely, yeah, definitely Kanye. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Sci the Prince, he had a project called Black History Project. The
Mm.
Waters by Mick Jenkins. Acid Rap by Chance. Um, this is now I feel like I'm leaving people out. And
Yeah, it was a lot.
but I had listened to it, I had heard it when I was younger, but I studied the Marshall Mathers LP.
Mm.
Goodness graciousness. Uh, Man, yeah. So just to name a few, because I can't think of all of them to be honest. Wale, what is that? Ambition, that album. His second album, The Gifted. Um, Big
Mixtape
Sean,
album.
yeah, Big Sean, and like, bro, they was coming out of mixtape era, going into like Friday Night Lights was one of them.
Mm.
It's a whole bunch. So I'd be doing it
Too
injustice.
many.
And I'm not trying to forget nobody, but it's almost like an injustice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, that I feel like that era never be duplicated,
Yeah.
no more. It was just I think Wayne, he he took the energy from, like, I would say, New York, as far as like making mixtapes,
Mm-hmm.
and like he made so many mixtapes to where I feel like the hip hop trend was to make a mixtape, so everybody was giving away like album worthy shit for
Yeah,
free.
to this day, man. And if,
Yep.
like Apple Music, Spotify, and all the DSPs, we still be following that mold and that blue.
Mm.
Yeah, he definitely changed the game up with that.
Yeah, bro. I think I'm glad you mentioned Marshall Mathers LP, because me personally, that album was the album that made me start really listening to the lyricism of hip hop. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like growing up in the South, of course the South, they got they lyricists, but I would say the South, around the time of my era, where you had No Limit, you had Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? As you grow, I feel like as you grow older, you respect their lyricism a little bit better. But Eminem during that era was just so razor sharp to where you could just see the significant difference between him and them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was cold. He was cold,
Mhm.
and there wasn't nobody around that was doing anything close to that. Not that we heard. It was people that
Yeah,
was level. And it wasn't that it was even relatable to us because some of the stuff he was talking about we wouldn't dare do or say to nobody else, but it was just more so like a
yeah,
white it's hard.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, so in 2021, Kimi Casanova went viral, and currently is that 2021 or 2020? What would you say? 2020.
Yeah.
2020 it went viral, and currently it has over 4 million views on YouTube. And
Mhm.
then and you went on 85 South show, and you had a performance and an interview, and that went crazy and viral. How did those moments feel when you realized how big that those moments were as far as like social media and going viral? How did you feel about the success of those moments?
Overwhelmed. I
Overwhelmed?
really liked it at first.
Really?
Yeah, it was an adjustment, and that's what people don't understand a lot of times. It's like because they have access to you, because they see you, or because you appear normal. Sometimes they feel like I don't know. I guess they expect you to kind of be a certain way or be the same way. But they expect you to be just more so happy. And I was grateful, but I was overwhelmed. You go from one day like not getting calls on your phone or not getting the notifications and the attention you want on social media to your phone just really won't stop ringing. You know the vibration that your text messages make or the dings that your text messages make, it's like a ping or something like that.
Yeah.
It was more so like I had so many messages coming through that it sounded like a phone call because they were so bing, 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 and the phone wouldn't stop vibrating. So it was just a lot, man. My phone went from zero to hero, and it wasn't a bad thing. I just didn't know how to deal with it because I'm used to being an artist, or I'm used to being a creative. Now I had to pick up my phone and be active with all of these people, tell everybody thank you because somebody gonna say he forgot about me or he didn't do this, he do that, and people hopping on the internet like, man, I reached out to you. I cannot see all of this stuff. I didn't even know that you had a DM, then you had requests. And I didn't find out till a year, 2, 3 years later that you had a request under those requests on Instagram. And it was
Mhm.
people stuck in there that I didn't know had hit me or had tried to get in contact with me. So I'm missing like opportunities and stuff potentially. People trying to get me on their platforms, and it was too much. I can't be in 10 places at one time. So for the first year, 2 years, man, I was adjusting, and it was just kind of like growing pains. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, I did anybody like, I would say, kind of be pissed off at you about missing, messages, or like
Yeah, that's a part of it. That's a part
yeah.
of it. Do the same thing to people or artists before I realized you can't be everywhere at one time. I didn't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So with the Kimi Casanova, that video,
Mhm.
great video, great song. You created an alias there, because I feel like, prior to that, you know, you didn't really use that alias, as well as, after that you've actually, just been yourself as far as your rapping ability, your songs, your lyrics, and as well. So talk to me a little bit about the process of creating that alias and the video.
It was more so like the perfect mistake. Uh, and it wasn't like no process when I was creating it. It was more so like get in here and experiment and do what you need to do to get what you're trying to get. And when it worked, I was just like, damn, okay, they fuck with it, or they like it, or this, that. And yeah, I just kind of ran with it, man. I have shuffled in between that and Akeem Ali, but it was more so like me fighting to try to get people to see it's bigger than just Kimi Casanova. I got like a story to tell. I got stuff I need y'all to know because of where I'm from, and me trying to shed a light on that. And I fought with it and against it for a long time until I just came to grips with like, um, do what makes you happy. you know what I'm saying, and just whatever. Because I got to a point where I was trying to like do music to make money or do this or do that, and I'm like, no, do the music because it makes you happy, and stop trying to like fulfill other needs. I'm in it because it makes me happy. Of course, I want to be paid from it, but when I start coming from a place of want to be paid, then you just start making stuff out of desperation, and it's not pure, and I didn't like that. So
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So and I definitely feel that as a creative because me with just podcasting or whatever, you look around, you look at different podcast platforms and you see people that's doing certain things, or to me, I kind of feel like I won't, it could work for them. I feel like if I did some of the shit that they did, I would be embarrassing my family. I'd be embarrassing myself. That ain't my character. You know what I'm saying? I could just go on podcasts and say some hating shit, or talk about black men versus black women all day and shoot my streams up. You know what I'm saying? I got episodes where, you should talk about relationships, but you got episodes where you informing the people. Them episodes about relationships gonna do way better than the ones that's informing the people about mental health, about physical health, about whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so I definitely get, when you creating, I don't know nothing about creating music, but when it comes to creating content, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like, should I do this shit because I love doing it, or should I do it because, I want to make money from it. I want to say some shit that people, that's a hot take that people gonna stream
Yeah,
and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a thin line. I think with you, I think I like the fact that you are versatile. You know what I'm saying? Some songs you'll give us that player shit, and then some songs, you spitting about some deep shit or spitting about some interpersonal shit. And I think versatility is what makes an artist, because some of my favorite artists out there right now, they be able to, put different hats on. So I think that's dope that you kind of do that. You know what I'm saying?
appreciate that. Appreciate it.
So yeah, I saw on the interview that you were saying that you struggle with the bouncing back and forth for aliases. So are you still struggling with that now, or are you kind of content on what you got going right now?
Now I figured out that I have a good problem. You know, what I had was like um, being talented and multifaceted in more than one way, and not knowing how to sort it out.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, some people ain't even talented or don't have enough talent to, you know what I'm saying, had a problem to start sorting it out. And I had just had kind of like analysis paralysis, because when I'm writing and when I'm making music and stuff like that, I can come from one angle and it sounds good. Then I can come from another angle and it sounds very good, but it's more so like trying to pick that lane so I don't confuse people, trying to figure out what I need to give y'all so it's not confusing to everybody. And once I got that mapped out in my head, man, I'm just like, okay, cool, we can roll now. So
So as far as like your creative, what would I call it? Your creative process. Are you one of those people that has to write every day, or are you one of those people that have to like take a break, live life, then out of nowhere you have like streams of consciousness where you can kind of put a whole bunch of work on the paper and be able to go into the studio and just knock it out?
all of it,
All of it.
literally everything that you name. And I never feel like I have to take a break. I just don't do it and don't realize that I'm not doing it. But I write every day, or I come up with an idea every day for a song. And it's not like, it don't even feel like I'm working, to be honest. Like I'm literally just chilling, and a song pops up to my head, or a melody, or an idea, or a lyric, or I see something and be like, oh, that could be a bar, that could be a punchline. And it's like, to me, I'm not working or it's nothing, but that's actually actively working. Like if you stop what you're doing in the middle of what you're doing and go and check a work email, like this is work at home, you know what I'm saying? Or if I have to stay on here for 20 minutes and like answer these emails, that's work. But with me, it's just like, I've literally been in the middle of the club with the music blasting and thought of something. I pull my phone out and be like, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then put my phone back up and I'm like, oh, hold on, another one, blah, blah, blah. And I have to get it out like right then and there. So, but it never feels like work. It never feels like I'm taking a break. It never feels like I'm doing it too much. It never feels like I'm doing it enough. It's literally everything all at once. You know what I'm saying? But it never feels like nothing because it's natural. It's like breathing. I do not have to think about it. I don't have to think about breathing. It just comes to me. So yeah,
Right. That's dope. That's a blessing.
appreciate that.
So just recently, you was on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
you called out the Jackson podcasters, the bloggers, the social media platforms, and you stated that they were trashing the local artists or not promoting them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was a much needed conversation, debate, or whatever on social media. I feel like it was a productive debate because it wasn't no messy debate. It was out in front. Everybody, people said what they needed to say or their experience, or some people agreed, some people disagreed. Um, I wanted to ask, without saying or blasting no platform or no shit, like no messy shit like that. Like what put that on your heart to put out into the atmosphere, to put that out into the atmosphere, and like how did you feel about that, and what is your take on the current hip hop climate in the city?
Yeah, so people called and asked me like, who was I directing this to, or why did I post it? What was my motive? And I didn't necessarily have a motive. I recanted about an experience that had happened to me, but was so far removed from it. But I just thought about like when I get on social media sometimes, how the artist scene isn't supported like it needs to be, or even with the artists. And I did also have to, you know what I'm saying, throw us in there because it's not all just the podcasters, or it's not just all of the influencers. Sometimes it's the artist self-sabotaging. Sometimes it's the artist not supporting other artists or not getting along. And so it's just like our responsibility as a whole and as a city to kind of look out for each other. So when I see people getting on there, and even you was just like, sometimes they'll get on there and like not repost the platform that they're on, or they'll do this or do that. And I'm just like, I can't complain and not be a part of the problem. That's why I'm just like, what's your platform then? Or where, you know what I'm saying? What do you have going on and where is it and what are you doing? And you let me know when I can come by and what time works for you. Because if I'm getting on here complaining and I'm gonna get on here disciplining us as a city, I cannot be, uh, I can't do that and not be willing to be a part of the solution. Um, I just feel like we divided. We don't look out for each other enough, and it's everybody out for themselves. And it's kind of like a perfect example I can give you right now. Kamikaze, a guy in the city who tries his best to put a spotlight on artists, has Jackson Music Indie Week every year at the top of the year. And if you go there, man, what you'll see is it could be packed when everybody gets there. And as soon as an artist perform, they leave. Another artist perform, they leave. Another one, and they leave with their people. Nobody stays to the end. And by the time the last artist perform, it's 7 damn people in there.
Hmm.
Not right. Y'all are here for y'allself. Y'all know that y'all people. You could have been brought 20 people here. Why don't you convince your people to stay? Why don't you convince your people to be here with you and watch the rest of the show and say, hey, this artist or that artist is dope, or you may like this person. You know what I'm saying? Because that artist has to be there from the beginning until you get done performing. They family got to watch you. They folks got to see you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know, man. Just the lack of support, the lack of like knowledge when it comes to that type of stuff, and just knowing what a little bit could do for an artist and how far they can go for those people. So
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely agree with that, especially when it comes to like the live performances or whatever. I got people that perform, and you definitely right. It's like those people are here, they support, that one person that's performing, and then after that, they like, yeah, I don't know these cats. So I'm gonna leave. I feel like those people aren't really music fans or whatever. I feel like and sometimes I feel like that festival per se, I feel like sometimes it ain't promoted well enough to the right crowd, if that makes sense. Like I feel like it's like the artists, they going on stage, they telling them, okay, bring your people. You know what I'm saying? And then thinking that everybody gonna stay, but it's music lovers out here. They just got to be tapped into in that right area. Also, I feel like people aren't supportive, like you say. They just aren't supportive people. And I think relationships need to be cultivated. Collaboration needs to be had, even on creative platforms and amongst musicians. It's tough because I feel like everybody want to be the man. They don't want to work on teams. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be the guy that say, "Hey, I got the podcast," or "I'm the rapper," or this is my platform that I built up. None of y'all built it up. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no collaboration. So I get it. I see it all the time, and stuff like that. I've reached out to people to collaborate with, stuff like that, and it used to bother me, but then it don't, because I realized when you podcasting, this might not be your crowd. Just like as you as an artist, like you know Mississippi Jackson is messed up, but Jackson might not be your crowd. Your crowd could be everywhere else but Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And it's messed up because this your hometown. You got your people in your home that support you. But then you might look at your stats and you might see everywhere in the US listening to you except the city you from, which is crazy. But them be your biggest, non-supporters. Like that's just how people is, and it's weird.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to take into account with that, considering that we small and we probably like right at 100,000 people right now, but other states have like 1 million people there, or they got like
Mhm.
5 million, or like 7,000 people. So that's something to take into account. But it's just, you know, you're absolutely right too. But it's a lot of stuff to take into account. So I'm not gonna say that's just like the whole sum of it. Yeah, but I definitely get what you're saying.
I will say this though. Now, like presentation matters a lot. A lot of reason, people gravitated to you is because of your presentation and your rhyming ability.
Yeah.
Now, in your status, you was like, music is subjective. This is very true. It's very subjective. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this, like, it's a difference between quality and something that don't have the same amount of quality. You could be a great rapper, but if your presentation ain't quality, if you get up on the stage, you rapping over your lyrics, or you put out an album, your album cover not good, or you put out a track, it's not mastered and mixed correctly. Of course, all of these things cost money. Of course, as an artist, that shit expensive. I understand all this. I understand all this. But when you signed up for your shit, like I seen you perform, you had on a full suit. You had a full performance. You're not rapping over your lyrics. Your shit choreographed. All of that is professional. See what I'm saying? Like if I go to a show, if I pay and I go to a show and say all I got is goddamn $50, but I pay $15, $20 to get into your show. If you stand there, if you show up late as hell, you know what I'm saying? Mind you, like everybody complain about Lauren Hill. Everybody say, "Hey, damn man, Lauren Hill, she an hour and 30 minutes late for the show."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you a local artist. You not Lauren Hill. You ain't dropped Miseducation. Cool. That's fine. If I gotta show up for my job on time every day, I understand an artist that's like 25, 30 minutes late. I understand that. You could be in the back smoking. You could be having you a drink, whatever. But you got cats that'll literally put on a show in the city, be an hour and 30 minutes late to start the show. And then, you know what I'm saying? Now we restless. Now we like, what's going on? Like it's certain things that I feel like turn people off from some of the live shows, is what I'm saying. And it's messed up, but I feel like it's a certain level of professionalism they gotta go with the shit. You see what I'm saying? Because you talk like you a rapper, you putting out music, like that shit a profession. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be a certain standard, I feel like. What you think about that?
You're absolutely right. Um, but you gotta also take into account, man. Just like I was telling you with the social media thing, when the virality came and my phone started ringing, dinging, pinging, and doing stuff like that. These people don't know how to perform because they've never had to.
Right.
They don't know how to be performers. They know how to be artists. They know how to go in the studio, and they know how to do that. Um, yeah, so y'all, not to say that you have to give them slack or that you have to be making them the exception, but it's also like, I can't say what LeBron needs to do if I've never been in the NBA.
Right.
I can't say what Odell Beckham need to do if I've never been in the NFL. I'm not a wide receiver. Like, it's just a lot of stuff you got to kind of take into account, and we don't see it from that angle. We see it from, if you're gonna do it, you should already know all of this. You should already have this in order. And a lot of times we don't. Like when you start your podcast, I'm pretty sure you didn't know everything. It was some stuff you learned along the way that you was just like, oh. And then,
Shit, it's still stuff I don't know. You're right.
but if somebody said, man, that nigga Nick got a trash ass platform, it's just like, well, bro, I'm trying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing what
Yeah.
I do. Like, if you want to talk, you can just help me or give me some tips, or just let me know instead of. And that's the problem right there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Bashing nobody, but it's more so like you're looking at it from a lens of he should have been here. And even if he was like he should have did more, or it should have been this, or it should have been that, it needs to be more. Well, it's like I could just tell him that, or I can critique him and tell other people how I feel about it. And not that you said any names or nothing, but like
Oh
it's like,
no.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody out there, and I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
just take it upon yourself next time to just let these people know, like, hey, man, I think you did great. You know what I'm saying? Or I think you have great songs. Whatever compliment you want to come with, and just, man, you ever thought about implementing performances? Or you ever thought about, and you got to learn how to think for people and tell them this type of stuff, because you just walk up to them and like, you ain't performing that good. It feels like an attack.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I think anytime anybody ever asks me about my personal experience with their show, anytime any rappers ever sent me any music, mind you, my platform is not just for hip hop artists. I've had doctors, lawyers, teachers, mental health therapists, whatever on here. You know what I'm saying? It's the millennial experience, the millennial opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime anybody's ever approached me with music or asked me about a performance, I've always been honest. Now, what I will never do is get on the platform and trash anybody, nor will I trash anybody via social media. I don't trash people at all. Only time I trash people is when like NBA players when they hooping or something. Like relatively, you a scrub. Like it's some niggas in the league. I be like, bro, you trash. You in the league, but you trash.
He can't,
See,
he'll dominate, though. If he was out here, he'd be a
yeah,
legend.
yeah. That's why I say you in the league. Like they talk about Giannis brother all the time. He, hey, he in the league he sucked. But if he went to the NBA right now, he'd go for 50.
He did something we couldn't do, or
Right.
something. So that'd be the thing. And I just be like, it is all subjective. It's
Mm-hmm.
subjective. Unless it's something like that where it's like cut and dry. So I do get like where you can say that, but it's still like, well, he doing something we ain't doing. And he
Right.
getting paid to sit on the bench if that's what he's doing, or he getting paid to do this. And he traveling city to city. So I mean,
Right. Hey, no doubt. I get what you're saying, bro. Like I said, I'm a creative too. So, creatives, you gotta be, I would say all of us gotta be sensitive about our shit. But also I'm strong enough mentally for anybody to walk up and be like, hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. Cool. Take that into account and let's see how I can work on it. We gotta make sure that I would say coachable. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be coachable, you know what I'm saying? And
even
and
I'm
I think that's the most important thing. What you say?
I was not to cut you off. I'm sorry, but even now I take that approach. Like you got to be coachable and willing to like listen. And I tell people like sometimes the advice you're giving is not that it isn't valid. It just doesn't apply to me right now. So I keep it in my back pocket, and later on I remember like Nick told me, you know what I'm saying, it looks good when you perform, or it looks more professional when you have this, that, or that. And it does apply to me now. So I use that and keep it in the back of my head and know that when you see other artists here perform, I can always tell them that, like, hey man, do this or do that, or make sure you're on time. You know what I'm saying? And I can use that information and I can tell it to somebody else where it'll be beneficial to them. So yeah.
Oh, bro. So yeah, man. It's been great having you on the podcast, the platform, man. I'm very appreciative for you spending some time with me today. Answering a few of my questions. So we're gonna end on this note. I wanted to ask you, since I've seen you, in the studio with Ti, with Snoop, around the way with different celebrities. Have you ever been like starstruck around a celebrity, or do you have any crazy stories or anything to that nature?
Nah, I can't say that I've been starstruck, man. Um, I will give this one um thing that I had happen to me. And it was pretty cool. I was in the studio. Um, and it's gonna sound like a weird combination, but this is literally how it happened. So me and Jordan Sparks are good friends, and her husband kind of calls me or texts me whenever they're in town because I can come through the studio, listen to songs, and what I'm saying, just give input on stuff and stuff like that. So she comes to Atlanta and he hits me and say, "Well, yeah, we're gonna be down there at these dates." And when she get here, they hit me. I go to the studio. So it's Zaytoven in there playing beats.
Okay.
Young Dro pull up, and I'm like, okay, Jordan Sparks, Young Dro, Zaytoven. I'm like, she don't
Yeah.
rap over his type of beats. I'm like, it don't seem like she'd be on the song with Dro. But I'm like, hey, whatever. In the midst of that, like the second day, because we did like 2-3 days, the second day T-Pain shows up. And I'm just like, okay. I'm like,
A lot of talent.
you know what I'm saying? And so I'm in there and like we writing and stuff and we doing our do. And we get to this one song and T-Pain go in the booth and he starts singing, but he got the auto tune on, singing on the auto tune. And I was just like, at first I'm like, everybody going in there laying melodies or they laying their ideas down. And I was just like, not paying attention. I'm just like, they just laying melodies, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how singers do in the studio. They don't just write the song full out sometimes. They have to literally make a whole track full of melodies and pluck and pick from that.
Mm-hmm.
Notice I'm like, this is literally the person who introduced us to this. Or this is the first time that we ever heard like auto-tune, period.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear him in there doing it and like using it was kind of like because we remember when it came out when we were kids, like the I'm Sprung or like, the bartender buy your drink and all the flack he got for like death by auto tune and stuff. People saying like he ruined like music with auto tune, but I'm just like, that was a moment for me to see him in there singing and using it, and it's just like it's helped so many artists in their career. It had helped me up to that point, and like everybody uses it and knows how to like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a real moment.
Yeah, so I was like, man, that was really really cool. And
It was like one of them I made it type moments.
Yeah. Well, I ain't gonna say nah. It wasn't that. It was more so like damn, it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
And another moment was being in the studio with Snoop and the people that were with me. Like he was smoking, and I don't even smoke, man. So I didn't.
Oh man, you ain't hit it.
Nah. And
Oh,
that's why I'm saying, like staying attached to the most inner part of myself. And it's like no matter what, like yeah, it would have been cool, but I'm just like that ain't even you, bro.
yeah.
Like, but I did drink. You know what I'm saying? I had me some Casa and some Fat Burger and
Yeah.
but everybody in there hit the blunt, and I'm like, it would have been something. And every time I say that I didn't, everybody, you didn't hit it, you ain't smoking. I'm like,
You ain't get no contact, guy.
I don't even think I did.
Hmm.
I don't even think I did, man. But him being as cool as he was just like, that was really cool to see. And so that was a moment for me. I remember like COVID was kind of like going crazy around that time. This is at the top of 2021 because it was Super Bowl weekend. And we went to the studio and we had to sit in that little room waiting on him and stuff. And then the security guard came in and was like, yeah, he ready, come on, y'all. And so I'm there with Lou, and he played for the Clippers at the time. And Lou,
Right.
first, so he knew him. I walk in behind him and I just kind of like threw my hand out to like dab him because it's COVID. And it was like when it was that high.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether to dab or like shake. And he was just like, bring it in, nigga, and give me some love. And he was like, held his arms out for a hug. And I'm like, all right. Kind of cool because I'm here like I really don't know this man. I've seen him on TV and but I don't know who he is in person.
Yeah.
Bring it in, nigga, give me some love, shit. And I just threw my arms up like it was my long lost uncle.
Yeah. Fuck the social distancing. This nigga, this
right,
Snoop.
yeah. So that was real cool, man. Yeah, it was a good moment I had in the studio. Yeah.
That's dope, bro. So yeah, man, we're gonna round this interview off, man. Very appreciative for you hopping on the Verbal Intercourse podcast, bro. And I want everybody out there to stay safe and stay supporting the Verbal Intercourse podcast. And we out. Peace.
I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.